You're tuning in to the Black Hollywood Live Network, featuring news, interviews, and commentary on all things Black Hollywood. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is Black Hollywood Live, Geek Nerd Tech, featuring a weekly roundup of tech news and gossip. Black Hollywood Live, Hollywood redefined.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host for Black Hollywood Live, Geek Nerd Tech.
Yo. Uh-oh.
Yeah, got a little groove going today.
Yeah. Knick-knack, paddywhack.
Oh, man.
Welcome to Geek Nerd Tech, episode 15. This is Joe Braswell, joined by my man, Achilles Shine.
Yes, sir.
Time keep on slipping.
Man, we do, man. In the place to be, man.
How you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Had a pretty productive week.
Yep.
Feeling good. Feeling good about life, man.
Are you feeling about life?
Life.
Okay, good.
How about yourself, man? How you living?
I'm living medium.
Medium.
Yes. Not quite living large. I'm living large down here.
Oh, man.
But
I mean, it's a work in progress, man.
yes, it is. What's up, Stephen Lemieux? How you doing?
Ready for some geek news?
All right, good. Let's give you some. Big show. Well, lots to talk about today. So let's jump right into it. I want to talk. I first want to just, we have to get into this Comcast.
Who?
Comcast Time Warner merger, which is just it's just dominating all tech news and all tech everything. And obviously, we touched on it last week. It's just the two giants of cable, Comcast and Time Warner, who originally don't have any overlapping properties.
Right.
Comcast is folks primarily on the East Coast and other places, and Time Warner is primarily West Coast. But the issue with the merger of these two companies means a lot of different things into the landscape of broadband, in the landscape of programming, in the landscape of monopolies, and frankly, in the landscape of net neutrality and television.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, what do you? I mean, well, give me your thoughts.
Kind of what you said, like these two giants, coming together, like the two big whales of the ocean, of the broadcast ocean, coming together to form, this huge union. I mean, we know the problems inherent with the formation of monopolies in terms of how there's a lack of competition, and that lack of competition kind of degrades the industry in general, and then in the sense that when you have this big conglomerate, you don't have the need or the passion to innovate. And right. So things become kind of complacent. And so I think, clearly for them, like it's money making for them and greasing their pockets. But for the consumer, for us, I don't think it's a good thing. I think having a diverse marketplace that promotes that innovation, promotes, variety is kind of like what we need. And especially because Comcast owns so much content and so many networks, from NBC to Universal to MLB to Telemundo, they are huge. And so I'm like we were talking about last week in terms of net neutrality and, hey, well, this is our content, we own it, so we're going to give this more favoritism than someone else's. And I think that's where the problem is. Yeah, we talked about this in terms of just on the broadband side in terms of speed. And availability, we talked about us being 31st in the, the slowest internet. And this isn't going to help because there's no motivation for these guys to, get things going faster. They're going to get things going at their speed. But more importantly, I think it's really about, I read an interesting article about how this stifles, innovation, meaning there's so much room. And if you have companies in other countries, China's a bad example, Korea, for instance, we have all these companies competing with each other. It really sparks innovation and new technologies and speed and deliverables and box tops and all these different things, ways to get it, small screen, second screen, third screen. And none of that's really happening here because you have the beast, the behemoths. And it's interesting how, the government, how legislation, is in place to stop this sort of thing, but it's a real loophole when it comes to, this is going to have to be voted on to see if this is in our best interest, as the consumer's best interest. I don't know how it can be. Right. I think a big point too is typically or traditionally in the past, broadcast companies had more of an entertainment value to it versus now, the internet is a part of everyday life.
Right.
It's a societal function. So it's like versus like, hey, I'm gonna get broadcast because I want to watch movies,
Right.
or I want to download videos or whatever. Like, no, we use this with everything. We use it for security systems. We use it for, communications, like everything. So I think because of that, like to have such a block of people, like we're talking about 30 or 40% of people that use the internet would have to subscribe, will be forced to subscribe to Comcast Time Warner. That's a huge percentage of people.
That's a huge percentage of people. And like I said, I think you mentioned Time Warner does a lot of sports deals. Time Warner does deal with the Dodgers here in this market. And so, I don't know. And they have the Lakers here in this market. So it becomes if you want to see the Lakers, if you want to see the Dodgers, if you want to see, a lot of things, you'll have to go to these networks. What this means for the future is not, it feels a little bleak, but we'll see where that goes.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think we saw this with AT&T when they tried to buy T-Mobile and didn't work, in the mobile industry. I don't think it's going to happen.
We'll see. I mean, we will see. I mean, so let's move on. So there's, I want to talk about these things called health trackers, which is something there's this a company called PSFK Labs, and they're developed this thing called they're developing this thing called embedded vital monitors,
right?
Which is basically as you think it is. I mean, it is these monitors that are skin embedded that monitor all your vitals, on a regular basis. The fact that they're being called health trackers are not really scary. Now, you know how I feel about all this stuff already. I'm already nervous about us becoming a sci-fi movie, any of my favorite sci-fi movies, right? But or whatever. I look up and they're like, hit a button and I'm like, the Manchurian Candidate, like marching toward the White House.
I know, right?
But I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of really cool things about this, but it's kind of scary too. What did you take on this?
I mean, this is the whole Internet of Things, man. We're moving into the territory where we want to collect as much information and data as possible. We're in a information economy,
right?
So like the more information you have, the better position you are to innovate and develop new stuff. And I think in terms of this, like it's like Moore's law. Every 18 months, like the sensors get smaller and smaller, and so like these devices, wearable technologies like the Fitbits, the Jawbones, the Fuelmans, they're going to become more humanoid.
This takes it behind wearable technology.
Exactly.
It's one thing from rocking a band,
right,
or a watch,
to being on you or inside of you.
And this is like that movie, the Justin Timberlake movie, Out of Time.
Yeah,
when it looks up and they have the counter on their arms. I mean. But just as a practical medical application, though, I mean, it seems very practical to be able to, because will help you monitor all your vitals at all times. So, and this is kind of the future in terms of keeping people healthy,
for sure,
and detecting early onset everything, cancer, diabetes, heart attacks, strokes, all those things. Like you have all these things. You're about to have a stroke. You may have a heart attack. You may have these things. Something happens. Let's get you in immediately. Like, I love the idea of that. I just don't. Again, the monitoring, the constant 24-hour monitoring of you by someone else via the internet opens itself up to a bunch of craziness.
I mean, like, as of everything with technology, it's two sides to the coin. Like, you have the pluses and minuses. I mean, the fusing of electronics and biology, like this is cool in a sense, like, because the health trackers we have now kind of only do like calories intake, or how much sleep you're getting, or how many steps you're taking, versus like what we're talking about now. Like, we're actually talking about what's happening with your organs, what's happening with you on a cellular level. And I think like that, I think that will save lives. I think that will promote new cures for diseases. Like, so I see more benefits with this than negatives. But I hear what you're saying. Like, just to have all these monitors on you, you never know what could happen. Like, what the downside of it could be. Like, say it's wrong, or say it monitors something and gives it a wrong number and says you have to take medicine, and you take the medicine, you didn't need the medicine, or so many things could happen. Like, so who knows?
Right.
But
that's interesting. We'll see how that goes out. So let's move on to Tesla, because Tesla's been in the news, and I love Tesla, the company. I love the cars. I would love to be able to get one of these very soon. I mean, they're only six figures, but Tesla's having a little bit of problem lately because their model is they do a unique model where they're the manufacturer of the car, they make the car, so and you can buy the car from them.
Right.
Now you don't even think about that as like being a big deal, but that doesn't really exist, right? So you can't go down to Ford, knock on the door, and to get some Fords. You know what I mean? Like
Call them up.
You can't. Hey, yeah, Ford. Let me. They can't. You can't do that with Jeep. You can't do that with Jaguar. So this is a sort of a direct to customer model, which has actually been a really effective model for them, especially in this market in Los Angeles. And because there's people who want the cars and they can provide the cars and they deal directly with the manufacturer, and that's the way it is. But like a lot of products do that. Well, there's a lot of laws in various states. This is where it gets tricky.
Stupid.
That people don't like that because you have lobbies, as you all do. You have lobbies, and you have the Auto Dealers Association and the auto folks who don't like the idea of bypassing the dealerships.
Right.
You have these very powerful, rich dealers
Yeah.
who own multiple dealerships around the state, each state, who are in bed with the congressmen and who are in bed with the governors and mayors, who basically just say like, I provide a service to this community. Like, you're cutting my business out if you let Ford or anybody sell their own things.
Absolutely.
Now, some states don't care. Some states really care. Right now, Tesla's having real trouble in Texas and New Jersey, and in Arizona. I mean, those are all red states. I don't know if that's anything to do with it, but like, I mean, New Jersey's not red, but I mean, red governor. But like, it's that's really interesting to me. I mean, I don't see the problem personally. But why is this an issue?
I think it's stupid, man. I think it's illogical. We don't ask other companies, other products to do this. It's called vertical integration, where the manufacturer also creates the distribution channel, like Apple. You know what I'm saying? They create the product and they also sell it in their own stores. Like, why can't Tesla create the product and have their own stores and sell it? Like, to me, cutting out the middleman saves money for the consumer. You know what I'm saying? However, there's a lot of jobs that would be cut if the dealerships were cut completely. But I think I read a statistic that said if those dealerships were cut, it would save the new car buyer about $3,000 per car. That's a considerable amount of money if you're buying a new car.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, I think it's just dumb. Like, I get the argument in terms of like the old world, new world philosophy. Like, of course, they want to keep the infrastructure. They want to keep, what's been consistently giving them money for decades. I get that. But man, this is a company that's innovating. It's a company that is, creating a product that's, clean for the environment. Like, it's creating jobs. Like, so I see more pluses on this issue than minuses.
Well, Elon Musk, who's the CEO, who's a brilliant dude, he's understandably taking this very personally. His take is that this is an attack on the other automakers and auto industry to sort of put Tesla out of business. I mean, he calls it perverting democracy to destroy Tesla and hurt customers. And I think that, like, I mean, man, let him do his thing. Like, he's not like Tesla is not. I know that because the underlying thing here is that this because it's a zero emissions car. It's a very effective, very good looking zero emissions car.
Shit is clean.
It's clean and it's literally clean. It's clean and it's clean.
Yeah.
So it's a very effective car. And so there's the auto industry that still is running on fossil fuels and other things, and like that's a conflict.
Of course.
So it's very suspicious that people don't want Tesla like around when this is like one of the best innovations for our environment, and let the man do his thing. I don't know.
And another thing, like the government, gave Tesla, I believe, $450+ million to develop it. And so it's just weird that you have, these government policies now putting their hands into it, saying, hey, well, you can't do it this way. Even
well, it's states' rights stuff, like, right?
Yeah,
this is how we get into this is the whole more larger political discussion about states' rights versus federal rights. And, people go back and forth all the time of like, I don't want the government doing my thing. Let the states do it. Then it's like, well, I don't want the states doing my thing. Like, the government should be doing it. Or I don't want anybody doing it. Let me I'm a businessman. Let me do my own thing. Well, he falls into all those categories. He's an independent businessman trying to sell direct to customers, which is capitalism at its finest.
Yeah.
They
Free
don't
enterprise.
want that.
Yeah.
Okay, the federal government steps in, they're going to help him do that. They don't want that. States' rights are coming in and saying like, let us regulate this, but some states are against it. They don't want that. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on with that. Anyway,
Tesla's sweet, man. The car is dope, man.
I love it. So, all right. So we have your boy, man, the mysterious creator.
Here you go.
Of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin guy, man. Like, he has been there. He is. He's been like hiding out, and Dorian Sakatashi Nakamoto. Ooh, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't practice that one. 64-year-old Japanese dude. Like he was like, I'm really not, involved, and I don't want to do it. And like it's interesting because the media has been like all over him trying to find this guy and like track him down and talk to him. And the issue is, why? Well, let me ask you, why is he hiding out? What's
I mean, he's hiding out because a lot of people lost their money. He's hiding out because a lot of people have invested in Bitcoin and come out with a check in the loss column.
Right.
So I'm sure that that flack, that criticism can be turned into violence, really.
Yeah.
So I mean, you think of a person that has invested a certain amount of money, in six figures amount of money plus, they're going to be hot.
Yeah.
They want answers. So
well, it's kind of a sad story. I mean, he's got 6 kids and a couple junior high age, and they're being harassed as well. And he's like he said, there's not even an internet connection at his house anymore. Like it's gotten so bad that I don't know. It's an interesting story because I feel like that the Bitcoin itself as an idea was a fantastic idea. The implementation of it and the actual practice of it was something that is, obviously needed a lot of work, as we know. But I don't know. I mean, it feels like he should come out. He's not like Snowden, he shouldn't. He's not gonna have to go and leave I feel like he should come out and just sort of face the music once and for all. I mean, he already did a couple interviews. It doesn't seem to be enough. And then just sort of like let him do his thing. I mean, he's a Buddhist, he's I don't know. It's an interesting story to me.
yeah, I think it's extremely interesting. Just Bitcoin, period. I don't think we've ever discussed Bitcoin.
No,
on the show.
we did.
I mean, but just this peer-to-peer, electronic cash system where you set up like, a wallet ID. You have you do it anonymously, so you're able to buy things. You're able to invest in things anonymously. So and without transaction fees, you're able to transfer money. And so I think like conceptually, like you said, like, in theory, the idea is dope, but
Right.
maybe in practice, like it has a lot of, tweaking that needs to occur.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know. It's the product itself. We'll see with Kurt, but I just don't like the fact that him and his family are paying the price. I mean, he's not Bernie Madoff. You know what I mean?
I mean, how do we know that?
Well, okay, maybe, but I don't know. I think it's I think it's a bit much. So let's move on to this this new P-cell technology that's coming on. And we talk about innovation here in this country, and we talk about the inability to our speed, our internet speed, our connection speed, all of that stuff. There's a company now that is really trying to make our phones and our connections, 1,000 times faster? What was the thing?
Yeah, 1,000.
1,000 times faster than we are right now.
Yeah.
My thing just went dead. Do you have the info in front of you about these guys?
Yeah. Essentially, it's a new wireless standard that will be better than 4G.
Right.
Essentially, it embraces the collision of radio waves versus like with the 4G setup, like it creates these grids that cannot really overlap.
Right.
Versus with this technology, it embraces that. So it wants it to overlap. And so what it does, it provides a stronger, faster connection for, a smaller community. And so to theoretically place these all around a city gives you that connectivity everywhere. Right. And so you'll never, be in a spot where, hey, I can't receive my email, or the video's loading too slow, or there's a lot of people downloading a certain file, so it's slowing my joint down. Like, you'll never have that issue because there'll be these devices placed everywhere.
Right.
And so I think that, in theory is like really, really dope, just to think that we could have that in Los Angeles, wherever you go, like you'll have like Wi-Fi, you'll have a fast connectivity. Like that's really dope.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I like the idea that, as we talked about, the lack of innovation, that people are trying to go around the traditional fiber optic way of delivering, this stuff, for the traditional cell phone towers as we know them, and innovating new ways to be able to do that. And I think that that's very, very exciting. But again, we'll see if it's able to be implemented, if it's able to be used.
Yeah.
I mean, again, the big boys still own the technology. They're going to have to want to adopt this. I don't know.
I just think it's really interesting. Like, man, we're dealing with a lot of stories that just kind of like promote this idea of changing the landscape of infrastructure. You know what I'm saying? Like, all because things have been in place for decades doesn't mean that it has to remain that way. And so we're seeing these like really inventive ideas that are kind of like changing the whole outlook on how we engage with the technology. And I think that's just really, really cool to see the diversity. You know what I mean?
Right. I understand that. Okay. Well, I agree, by the way, with that as well. So let's move on to Yahoo. Yahoo is trying to they've been trying to chip away, obviously, at Google for a long time. They're trying to figure out ways.
Good luck.
I know Google's got a pretty good firm hold. I mean, I remember in the early days there was always this sort of like notion that, we have plenty of search options. We have Google. We have Ask Jeeves. We have Yahoo or Jeeves. We're Ask.
Yeah.
Well, Ask.com,
Yeah.
which was first was Ask Jeeves, and then it's Ask.com. Like,
Man.
poor Ask Jeeves. But anyway, remember there was a day though when we had like a lot of search options.
Absolutely.
Them out, and Google sort of smashed everyone. Well, Yahoo, as a search engine, you have Yahoo, we have Bing, but Yahoo is still trying to do things to sort of they're kind of doing sneak attacks to sort of like optimize the way you search and how you search. And one of the things they launched was this Yelp help thing, which is basically are you a Yelper? Do you use Yelp a lot?
I do.
I use Yelp a lot.
Yeah.
I use Yelp a lot, and I still don't understand the exact specifics of how they're utilizing this Yelp thing to tailor to get more specific than Google can get, because it seems like it's the same. You can just Google Yelp,
Yeah.
But I don't know. Do you understand how what the difference is?
I think it's more so in terms of collecting information, because
Right.
if you sign up on Yelp, you usually sign up with Facebook, or you're putting your information into it, and so it's localized it's localized information for advertisers.
Right.
So that if you're in this region or this area, we have all your information, and we're able to promote to you these products based on your past experiences. And so I think integrating that with Yahoo is going to give Yahoo more of a market share for that ad revenue. But I really don't see them going against Google. Google, in terms of like in terms of the percentage of people that go online and search,
Yes.
Google's 70%.
Yeah.
Yahoo is like what, 12%?
I mean,
like it's no competition.
Google's a noun, it's a verb, it's a pronoun. I mean, like it's really like entered our, you don't Yahoo something.
Not at all.
You Google something.
When would you ever Yahoo something?
Yeah.
Like why? Why would you?
I don't know. But we'll see. I mean, Yahoo's been under fire lately. From they get the new CEO, and she's made a lot of moves in the entertainment and the content side, but on the actual tech, social media, bare bones side, they're still kind of struggling. I think my prediction is Yahoo is going to end up being just get out of the tech business and be in the entertainment business.
Man.
I think they're going to be like really like a content provider.
Yeah.
Eventually, more so than that. I think that's like a studio.
Yeah.
More so. I think that's the way they're going to go, because I don't know that they can compete. I know what Yahoo as a service does. No one really uses their email game is off, like been absorbed by by Gmail, essentially by Google. Like they're losing to Google on every turn,
Every category.
and I don't know that it's good enough in this day and age to be fourth or fifth in the market. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
But we're still talking about
Millions,
lots
millions,
of money. Yeah,
millions of
but
money. But just users still and people. But
right.
so we'll see. Let's talk about Maker. Let's talk about Maker Studios. Were you familiar with Maker Studios?
Actually, I am. I am familiar with.
Okay, because I was not super familiar with Maker Studios before this story came out, but Disney is familiar with Maker Studios because they are making a bid to sort of buy and like purchase it for like $500 million at least, and then which is good for these guys. And these guys they're here, right? They're in Santa Monica. Am I making that right?
Yeah, they're local.
And so, what is Maker Studios?
I mean, essentially, they are a huge content platform on YouTube. They aggregate over 5 billion video views a month. Like they're huge. They have over 1,000 channels, and essentially they use YouTube stars, young driven talent to build content around. And so they have tons of shows. They're very diversified. They have like a channel for moms. They have a music channel. They have I think it's I can't remember, but they have a lot of channels that are very diverse, and so their audience is huge. And so for Disney, what they're trying to do is farm out the talent,
right?
And they're also trying to get their audience. Like they have a huge audience, and we talk about millennials all the time and how like these big studios are kind of losing their grasp over marketing content towards a younger generation, like because we're on tablets, we're on phones, like we want on-demand stuff,
right?
And so like this is a great opportunity for Disney to capitalize by purchasing Maker, because they have the pulse of the younger generation, you know what I mean? And so I think for those two reasons, again, like to get new talent and then also just to have that audience.
I mean, does this come down to? I mean, this is kind of what this, in my opinion, it feels like the internet is really boiling down to an acquisition. Any acquisitions you make in the space is really an acquisition of users and an acquisition of basically bodies and eyeballs, right? So like this is why Facebook, when Facebook purchases something, they want sometimes they want the emerging technology that accompanies it, but for the most part, they want the users. These people use this stuff. They use this a lot. We want they're using this instead of Facebook. Let's buy them. In this case for Disney, I mean, this is a case where if you're trying to reach a very specific demographic, I mean, instead of banging your head against the wall, trying to figure out how to reach these YouTubers and how to and you look and you see there's a gigantic community of all these people making their own stuff, watching each other's stuff, sharing millions of views.
Why reinvent the wheel?
If I'm Disney, all right, let's write a check.
Yeah,
no
need to.
I mean, it's sad. I mean, this is why these companies exist. I mean, these companies exist to start a company, create something, and have a wonderful exit.
Absolutely.
Now, there is something to be said about that, though. The flip side of that is when you start a company to have an exit, to build it enough up so that someone can buy it, and you as the owner has a great exit. But at the same time, like, this gets back to our Comcast Time Warner thing. It always ends up the two guys at the top are buying and buying and buying and buying. I mean, by the end of the day, Facebook and Google will
bought everything.
Will bought everything. Between Facebook and Google, they will own the web.
Right.
And then the same thing with these studios here. So I don't know. I wonder about this. I think it's cool. I think it's a very savvy move. I'm sure it's a great move for Maker, who's going to cash that $500 million check and be very happy. But I don't know, man.
I mean, dude, Maker is,
and maybe it's undervalued a little bit.
I think it is undervalued.
Feels
500 seems kind of low.
So it's kind of low.
Yeah,
I mean,
Maker is getting as much viewership as Nickelodeon, like a huge network. Like that's crazy to me. Like how something on the internet is drawing that much attention, that is competing against something that's 20, 30 years old.
What I like about Maker is that they're able to the way they aggregate. So it's a situation where you can't control the internet. Everyone's just sharing stuff on YouTube. No one controls it. Well, Maker, they were able to brand this stuff. They were able to have these things under their tent. So all of those YouTube views, all of those things that are happening are through all those individual talent people. They belong to Maker. I think that's really smart.
And I think too. I think it's we're in the day and age where you don't need the traditional media outlet to become successful.
Right.
Like even as a talent, like you could create something and on Maker and blow up, you know what I mean? Versus have to go like the traditional route. Like, and I think that's really inspirational, aspirational for the young talent that doesn't necessarily have the resources other than the internet connection. Like, I think that we're in that space that you can create something and immediately have an audience. Like that's beautiful.
I totally agree. And so moving on a little bit, and speaking into our social media world, My man, Zach Galifianakis had our beloved President Obama on his show Between Two Ferns. Now, are you familiar? You familiar with Between Two Ferns, right? I love Between Two Ferns. Two Ferns. I love Zach. I love Between Two Ferns. It's usually very, very, very funny. It's a show, for those who don't know. It's a show that appears on Funny or Die, where Zach Galifianakis does a sort of talk show with a black backdrop, two ferns and two chairs, and a table with a button from Staples,
right?
You know, in the middle there. I forget what that button's called, but he has celebrities on, and it's very awkward. Well, he asks a bunch of awkward questions, usually crude questions, rude questions, insults them either advertently or inadvertently, and it always ends with them cussing him out and leaving. Usually, well, Barack Obama went on that show, which is
dope, man.
It was dope on so
cool.
many levels, right? Because it's like, you know, it's one thing to go on Jimmy Fallon or to go on, you know, Seth Meyers or to figure out, or to go to, you know, Jon Stewart and try to figure out how you're going to reach people or whatever it is, or go on MTV or whatever it is, Ellen. But to go to the internet and then go to a very popular internet series, and a very edgy internet series is a good thing. And the reason why he did that, obviously, is because he's trying to get Obamacare going. I mean, you know, we know with Obamacare, for it to work, it has to be used by people under 25. Under 25 have to sign up. Yeah. If people under 25 who need it the most, you know, don't sign up, you know, even under 29, if they don't sign up, then things in trouble. If they do sign up, we're great. Yeah. So the Obamacare is great. So he's really trying to reach people actively himself where they are, and they're here. You know,
I think it speaks to us having a digital savvy president. You know what I mean? Like even from, you know, when he was campaigning, like his ability to use the internet and use social media. Well, I think he's very intelligent as it comes to this space, like to push forward his concepts and ideas, like because like this was hilarious, man. Like just to see the president, you know, going pound for pound with him, throwing jabs, like that is great. That makes me want to get the messaging, like like because he's giving me the bait. He's making himself more personable, showing humor, so it makes me want to think like, okay, well let me get the gems too. Let me get the knowledge you're dropping too. And so I think it's just very strategic. And I think this story is huge. It's huge for healthcare.
It was funny, and I think it was funny. I think Zach had the best lines of that. I think he had some of the funny lines. I like when he's like, when the president starts talking about healthcare, it's like, here we go, Obamacare. And then I think he's talking and telling about it. And he's like, "Is this what you mean by drones?" That was a funny line. And he, like, you know, when you get to insult the president of the United States, and have him play along, you know, Zach, you know, and he had some funny, you know, the president has some zingers in there too. So that was good.
Obama's funny, man.
He is funny. He is very funny. You know, Key and Peele talk a lot about like their visit to the White House and how funny he was and how cool he was to them and how, like, you know, how unexpectedly funny he was. But, you know, I can digress. So that was cool to see. Let's talk about some nerd culture stuff. I want to get some stuff that's in my wheelhouse here. Finally, the premiere of Cosmos happened. The Neil deGrasse Tyson show that we've all been sort of waiting for, like, for the older folks like me who love the old Cosmos with Carl Sagan, you know, like the idea of it coming back. Who better to host it than Neil deGrasse Tyson? They tried to give it a little. They updated it a lot. I watched it. I have some mixed reviews, but and it's getting mostly positive, some mixed reviews. A lot of the criticism comes from its executive producer, which is Family Guy's Seth MacFarlane. And a lot of folks, you know, Seth MacFarlane's a very, very polarizing guy, much like Matt and Trey from South Park. He's just a polarizing guy, right? So either you love Seth MacFarlane and think everything he does is hilarious, or you think he's crude and rude and arrogant and a young rich guy or whatever. But I like the idea of him bringing the show to life. I'm not so sure I love all the bells and whistles, you know, like the spaceship and all the, you know, him standing in front of a green screen. And
the animation aspect of it was kind of cheesy. I watched the first episode as well. I mean, content-wise, it was great. Like, I'm a space geek, like 1,000%. Sure. But I was kind of like, man, like all the marketing and promotion that was put into this, I was expecting way more, like what they were to do with the technology and communicating these ideas. So I was a little disappointed with that. But I mean, overall, I still enjoyed the show, the episode.
Yeah.
I mean, and I look forward to the next few.
I agree. I think the issue for me is I think I'm a big NDT guy. I love anything he does or says. I think his enthusiasm for the space program, the enthusiasm for astrophysics and science in general is fantastic. I think that he makes great points about really wanting to get the STEM program programs in place, and how we are. I don't know what we are, like we're 20th in engineering and 15th in science, and just way down the list in all these places. How in the space program days and the NASA days, we had something to aspire to,
Right.
and we wanted to be engineers and wanted to go to space, and this is why we had a whole culture of engineers and builders and scientists, because people wanted to go to space. Now, with that stuff gone, what are people aspiring to be? Like reality stars and athletes and rappers. So I think that like he's trying to bring all that back, which I really appreciate. I really think is very vital. Obviously, the fact that the face of this is a brother, as a black dude, is fantastic. I just think the execution of the show, like other shows, like the Wormhole show with Morgan Freeman,
Great show.
great show. I think the execution of that is a little better.
Oh,
Like
for sure.
in terms of just like getting into these deep topics, that sort of these mind exploding topics.
Right.
Like, and they get into some real serious stuff here. The first one about religion and where do we come from and all that stuff. And
I mean, I think it's setting the foundation for the episodes to come. Like, I feel like the anime stuff that they use was kind of cheesy as well. Like, I just think execution wise, it could be improved. Like, but the content is good. The content is solid.
going to be
like,
good. I agree. Content's going to be good. I agree. The execution wise, I feel like that we're going to try to pull all these people in by having all these bells and whistles and all this whiz bang. I don't know that we need that. I just need to be able to visually articulate what we're seeing. Great. I don't know. We need all the.
I think we do need that because we are in that age.
Okay.
Like, we want to see cool stuff. We want to see futuristic
Then
stuff.
it needs to be done better.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's all I say. So speaking of which, speaking of being done better and whiz bang and effects and everything else, some trailers are dropping, man. Some trailers are dropping. I saw. I mean, the three that I'll mention, and we'll get into Godzilla. Is I saw the. These are all old and talked about, but the Guardians trailer. Did you see that? Did you see that one? What'd you think of that?
Dope.
Looks great, right?
Dope.
I mean, the tree, the raccoon. I mean, it looks, it's taking a story that's absolutely ridiculous and making it look great, like with Chris Pratt, and you populate it with some good actors like Benicio del Toro, and I'm really excited about this. I'm really excited about what they're doing with it visually and what the tone seems to be. Someone mentioned that we need more Han Solos. This is like a whole movie full of Han Solos.
Right.
I like that as heroes. Other one I saw was the Terminator 4 trailer.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, man. I really have Terminator fatigue. I was out. I mean, I think for me, the second half of Terminator 1, I was clocked out.
Oh wow, Terminator 1.
The second half, that's not Terminator. I'm sorry. Transformers. I said Terminator 5 times.
Okay.
Transformers is what we're talking about. The new Transformers trailer. The second half of Transformers 1, I was clocked out. It's just.
I don't know, man. I'm a fan. I like Transformers.
Okay.
I think maybe it might be a generational thing.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, shots fired at the old
man.
guy.
I mean,
I played with shots.
You got 10 more in the tank, bruh. So I mean, maybe that has to speak. That's speaking to it.
Oh, the record scratch. Oh, I'll take it. But I just feel like that it's an execution thing. I think all the Transformers look cool and they do their thing, and I like to see them. I just think, I'm not gonna go but a Michael Bay bashing thing, but I think it's just. I don't know, man. It's a tone thing for me. The tone is always off. The humor is off. The tone is off. But I will say, as always, they make great trailers. The trailer looked kind of like something was going to happen.
Like we covered this earlier on in the year. Like I'm a fan of Mark Wahlberg, and I like him in this role. I like him in this movie. I think it's gonna be dope. I think he's gonna bring some extra edge to it, some extra flavor to it. You know what I'm saying?
So we'll see with that. But the number one, the leader in the clubhouse for me is Godzilla. The Godzilla trailer looks amazing.
Yeah, it looked pretty
the
great.
movie, and then who would have thought that, if someone, so they did a Godzilla movie, a few years ago, and now Matthew Broderick, and I think it was the Emmerich did it, the guys who bring all the disaster movies. But this thing looks incredible. And it's not only, you know, like you do the same thing, you populate with a bunch of great actors. It's got Bryan Cranston in the trailer. I just put Bryan Cranston in the trailer talking a bunch of ish, and that's really all you need. But then you supplement that by, you know, all these cool destruction shots, and you've got that Halo jump. Whatever's going on with that Halo jump and the red tracer flares into the Halo into San Francisco, that's just some cool imagery. I haven't seen, even in this post we're looking at, you know, you see the hints of Godzilla on the left there, but I am all in on Godzilla. I can't wait.
Yeah, Godzilla, man. Like, the trailer was dope. I mean, I second everything you said. Like, it looks fresh. I just hope that it doesn't have like the cheese factor like the last one did. It was a little too humorous,
This
too
looks
comical.
very serious, though.
Yeah, I hope the tone is more dark, more serious.
Yeah.
It appears to be so.
My man who directed this, whose name escapes me, he did this movie called, I think it's called Monsters. And it was like sort of a low budget film, and they to check on some aliens that have been here in South America and Mexico. And if you haven't seen that movie, it's dope. It's really, really great. So just knowing that, giving him a larger budget to be able to do his thing, I am really excited about it. So Godzilla, everybody. All right, another thing is I wanted to touch on is this South Park Stick of Truth controversy, which, you know, Matt and Trey, the creators of South Park, are, I mean, they're really hollering, you know, I think with good point that, you know, people are, they're not treating, they're getting upset about some of the content in this video game when it is the exact content that you would find on the TV show, and it begs the question of what, you know, they're saying it's a huge double standard. I mean,
it's dealing with censorship, lack of censorship in television, but censorship in video games. Like, why is there censorship? Why is there a double standard? Why isn't it the standard for both?
Right. Well, so there is a very complicated rating system in video games. You know, there's and it's used, and I don't know how well it's enforced when you go to GameStop and buy a game. I did see some kids trying to buy some GTA that, you know, when it came out, and they were saying no, and I appreciate that. But, you know, look, GTA 5 is as explicit and as violent
as it possibly can be.
It's as sexually explicit. It's as graphically violent. I mean, it is everything, you know, from every word being used, every type of word. And I don't know how much worse South Park could be than GTA 5.
But, I mean, when you're dealing with, like, issues of religion, or you're dealing with
That's
things that are more sensitive.
That's the issue.
Yeah, because I mean, you're kind of, it's like more of a cultural thing. You know? You're stepping on people's cultural ideals, and it's more of an ethical thing. I get the violence thing, like you really can't compare that, but I think that's the problem that people are having with it.
Right. Well, that's kind of what this is the thing of. This is the trick of, this is what Matt and Trey do. I mean, they're masters of subversion, but they're masters of satire.
Right.
And so their humor is high satire. Like, it took me a while to really lock into that, because I was really sort of like, I don't get South Park at all. I don't get it. It's just mean-spirited and weird, and I don't get it. And then somewhere a little bit after the movie and a little bit down the road there, I really locked into what they're doing from a satire standpoint. And it really, like, and then I saw Book of Mormon, of course, and I was like, oh, okay, I see exactly what these guys are doing. And frankly, as satirists, as modern-day satirists, they are killing the game. I think they're really doing a great job. So
I think it's dope too that they, you know,
I don't always agree with their humor, what they're saying, and what they're doing, but I do agree with how they're doing it.
Yeah, I think it's dope too that they're, you know, positioning themselves. I mean, they've done video games before, but like they're positioning themselves to do the video game again. I think it's interesting that they're, you know, sticking with the 2D, you know, imagery, especially in this day and age where everything is like so sophisticated and visually, you know, compelling. Like, they're still sticking to the script of what the television show is, and executing that with the video game platform.
And
so
it's the same things they deal with on the television show when people are asking about, like, well, you know, the technology is such. I mean, look, you know, it is done. A lot of South Park is still done on high-end computers. That's why that's why they're able to turn it so fast. So then they use that money in South Park to be able to turn it. So they're literally writing the show, sending it off, and then getting it back like the next day, like animated, voices in, you know, like, and so like that's what they're using the technology for, because they're able to do that. So that is something, but we'll see how that plays out. I wanted to talk about some things that we are both geeking out on this week. I mean, one of the things that I'm really freaking the F out about is Titanfall for Xbox. I'm really in love with this game. I knew I would be in love with the game. It was hyped for a solid year, maybe 18 months of hype. The videos drop feels like a year ago when the first videos dropped, and the first gameplay things happened at E3. Like, it is here, it's on the new platform, and it is gorgeous, and it's beautiful, and it's big, and it's everything I want about mechs and multiplayer and customization, and it's an amazing, amazing game, and I'm very, very happy about it. I cannot say enough about it.
I mean, we'll see if it boosts the the Xbox One sales.
Well,
I mean, that's essentially like their kind of like big pitch. Like they're going to use this game to like really go hard against Sony.
Right.
So we'll see what happens.
I mean, like this. I mean, like Xbox has done this, right? So in the past
With Halo,
Halo soared up with on the backs of Halo, and Halo, and I'm a Halo loyalist, and I played Halo to the end, and I'll continue to play Halo as the new versions come out, but. I think that this is I don't know that they're banking a lot on Titanfall. It's like a lot of eggs in one basket here. So it's doing well. It's doing well, but I don't know if it's gonna break through, or push it ahead of Sony, because Sony's got a pretty good head start at PlayStation. But we'll see. But what are you geeking out on this week?
I know that we were going to discuss the Internet 25, right?
Yeah.
25 years.
Oh yeah,
old.
but I was gonna ask you about the South by Southwest stuff. No.
No.
All right. So let's. Well, I do want to mention some stuff about South by Southwest. Is that like, a lot of stuff happened this year. It was one of the biggest, most explosive South by Southwest in a lot of ways, with music and tech and films. So it's a great convergence, and I wish that we were there. We had the opportunity to be there right this very second. No disrespect to being here on this lovely show. But then there's some tragedy that happened too with the hit and run situation. A guy mowing down some folks. But I don't know, man. South by Southwest is the place that I would love to have gone for pieces. I just want to be able to go there from the beginning through the early tech stuff, and then stay through TV, and then stay through film, and then get through music, and just be drunk the whole time.
Yeah, for the geeks of the world, like it's like a Comic-Con. South by Southwest is dope because you're getting the best of every world. You know what I'm saying? So, and then this is just a huge party, like a huge party thing. So I mean, there's a lot of tech stories that we could probably cover.
Sure.
After it's over, sure next week we'll highlight some of the great tech stories.
We will.
But yeah, man, South by Southwest 2015 maybe is in the future.
I hope so. All right, so we want to get into have a conversation about the internet, because internet's 25 years old, and 25 years of the internet. I mean, that's a little, just slightly about a little. I've only been alive a couple of years longer than that. So as a young man myself, as growing up with the internet now, our entire world, the way we do everything from now to 25 years ago is completely changed in every single way, in exponential rates.
Yep.
And there's a lot of think pieces on the internet and what's happening, and what does this mean? What does the future hold? And I thought we just discussed some of that stuff right now. I mean, how do you feel?
I mean, yeah. I mean, the internet is, which we've already kind of mentioned in this show. The internet is fully integrated in our lives, from top to bottom. From the most simplistic things to the most complex things. Like we can't go anywhere without there being something connected to the internet.
Right.
And I mean, Tim Lee, who invented it as a way to share documents, and hyperlinking those documents, giving those documents a location to be found, and something that started as simple as that to become an international, phenom. Like, like the internet has its pluses and minuses, and I think it's like I said earlier, we are in the age of information. It's a knowledge economy, and so the internet provides so many positive things for the world. Like, and on the flip side, it also takes away a lot of our socialization, like how we connect with each other, like. All those things, I think, like, have to be evaluated and considered.
Right.
But Tim's view is that the internet should be open to all, and he's promoting this digital,
he's being vocal about
this digital Bill of Rights, this internet constitution where the world is able to have the access to the information versus it being privatized or being controlled or regulated by governments or corporations. Like he wants it to be free. He wants it to be open to everyone.
Right.
And so I think that's kind of like his platform is to promote that concept, the net neutrality, so that the next generation will have the same access to things that we're having.
Yeah, he talks about this with the online Magna Carta, if you will, right? And so I think that this is very, very important because, the beauty of the internet has been, that it's been open and for everyone, and it's because of its open nature, it has caused not only so much innovation, which has changed all of our lives. Now, the two things that are the two sides that are really trying to stop that innovation are, business and corporate people are trying to figure out how they can carve out and own portions of the internet and own their corner of the internet, if not the whole internet, as well. And then you have the legal side, which is still trying to figure out how to regulate. I mean, for 25 years, the technology curve has been far ahead of the legal curve, and it's not even close. It's gaining a little ground the legal curve. Technology curve is always pushed far out ahead of that via the internet. So I think that it's really important, to establish some sort of like internet Magna Carta that says this is for all people, not for certain people.
It's kind of ironic that the Magna Carta though was given to the rich and powerful. So I think it's kind of like a misuse of the word, but
True.
I mean, conceptually, I understand what's going on. But yeah, like that is what he's being vocal about. Like it's supposed to be free for all, and I think we're in the age of collaboration and crowdsource ideas versus old world where you were specialized in one thing and like you kind of hoarded that information, and the internet provides that, that education to everyone. You know what I'm saying? So it provides a conversation. Like if you have this piece, then you can connect with someone that has another piece, and then you can create something new. Without the internet, we really don't have that dialogue, and it gives resources, which we've talked about on the show, to like third world countries that don't have, those brick and mortar resources, books, but if they can have that connectivity, they can still get, the education. Like I just read an article about MIT putting, their whole curriculum online for free for people to read through. Like that's the beauty of the internet, that you can get the knowledge, you can get the information that can help you, help your family, help your community, help the world. Right. And so I think that's what should be promoted.
So let's talk about the future. I think that like also one of the things that the experts are saying is that the internet will be more like electricity. It'll be just there, like it's in the same way. When electricity was invented, it was this thing. It's like very specific. It's electricity. It does all these uses, and how do we own it? And how do we get around it? And how do we use it and implement it in our lives? Now we look around us; it's just here. There's lights in the studio, or electricity is a part of our life. In 2025, experts are saying that the internet will be the biggest analogy they can use. The internet will be like electricity. It'll be everywhere. Now we saw this some of the stuff at CES and with Cisco thing, and we talk about the Internet of Things all the time. And it's a place because it's a way that we all connect, and everything is going to be connected to each other. So it'll be the scene that is unseen, as opposed to this nebulous thing that we have to log into and interact with. It'll already be interacting with us at all times.
Absolutely.
So
I mean, the future is bright, but I mean, we do have to discuss the flip side in terms of, like I said, like the lack of sociability. People are so connected to their devices that we don't have that peer-to-peer, face-to-face interaction. Like we can't just go and have a conversation with someone. Like we're so connected. It's like we're losing those aspects of socialization, which are important. Like when you go to college, that's essentially, to me, like the most wealth of information that you get: how to be social, how to interact with people, how to collaborate, how to network, how to have conversations. And so how we're having the conversation now through these devices, you kind of lose some of those social nuances. Right. And so also I think in terms of just a lot of people are misinformed. Like a lot of people run to the internet, do a quick Google search, and they believe the first thing they read. And I think there has to be versus before the internet, you would do like a deep dive and really investigate and research something, versus now people just automatically draw conclusions off an article that they read. Right. And because the internet is free, people can put up what they want. Like there's really no academic or intellectual, I guess, framework to like really emphasize what is correct information. Like you have to really kind of like navigate through a lot of the noise to get to the heart of things.
Well, one of the things that seems to be a negative, in the internet of the future is it helps sort of promote the haves and the have-nots, right? So there's a lot of, what we were starting to see little glimpses of this in San Francisco, but what we don't want to happen, which is what I think this whole Magna Carta thing wants to fight against, is you have the tech savvy and the people who are plugged in and have all this internet and things available to them, and the people who don't. And so, like, not everyone's going to want to be plugged in. Not everyone's going to want to have access to everything. Not everyone's going to want to be monitored at all times. So you haven't, and they can't make you do those things. So the internet right now is voluntary. If you want to sign up to Facebook, sign up to Facebook. If you want to do this, do that. But in the future, when the internet, in a world where the internet is electricity, people aren't going to like that so much. So we're already having some situations now where, the more tech savvy you are, the more tech devices you have, the wearables, the Google glasses, the this and that, you're a certain type of person, and maybe have different access and different education levels and different everything. Whereas if you don't, you're not, and this could create what people fear, this sort of class system, which will promote violence. We talked about like what's going on in San Francisco right now. With the hipsters and the hippies hating the techies, and snatching Google glasses off of people's faces and getting angry at the tech world. That's a microcosm.
I think it's just like any resource. Like if you're shut out of being able to interact with that resource or have access to that resource, it could push you to violence. And we are, again, in the age of information, and that is going to be a commodifiable thing. Like the more information you have access to or have, like you'll be able to better position yourself economically.
Right.
And so if you don't have that access, like it's going to affect your economics. It's going to affect how you compete for that job, how you compete for whatever. And so, already there's a digital divide where, people of color don't really have, as we've spoken on the show, don't have the internet, don't have the gadgets, don't have the resources to purchase those things. So it's creating bigger class divisions.
Right.
And so, that could in turn, push people, polarize people, marginalize people to the fact, well, we need to get it. We need to do something.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. I mean, that's the thing that worries about. Like this article in Daily Dot that says, the internet, the future is already here, and some of us are getting left behind, and so that's kind of what it's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah.
Well, we will see what the future holds over the next 25 years.
Yes, sir.
I won't be here.
Oh man.
No, I will be here. I will be here, kicking. I won't. I'll be here, right here at this desk, doing this show with you. Great show, Akili. Where can we find you, sir?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Akili Shine, AKILI Shine.
And you can find me, Joe Braswell, on Instagram and Twitter at Joe K. Braswell, and on the sister station AfterBuzz, doing a bunch of shows as well. You can check us out there. That's all I got. Thanks for listening to Geek Nerd Tech, where we bring you the geek news and tech culture from a nerd perspective. Did I mess that up? Yes, I did. We'll see you next week.
From producers Maria Menounos, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire BHL crew, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us at info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I'm your BHL announcer, Scipio. Instagram me at Planet Scipio. Thank you for tuning in.
Hollywood Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.
Thanks for watching Black Hollywood Live on YouTube. For more in-depth interviews and news, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion in the comment section below here. See you soon, everyone. Bye.